Hello, welcome to the AtTheRaces.com preview of the supporting races of the CRABBIE'S Grand National Meeting. We'll look at the head to the big race or big races on the Thursday. First one to have a look at is the BETFRED Bowl Chase. It is a Grade 1 race, a high-quality renewal coming up as well. Dynast is a horse who really captured my imagination at Cheltenham. He was a very impressive winner. That's the BETFRED Bowl Chase. We'll also look at the Dunbar AINTREE hurdle. Can the new one gain compensation in that for his Cheltenham misfortune? We'll also look ahead to the BETFRED MELLING Chase on the Friday and the TOPHAM Chase, the big handicap over the Grand National fences as well in this section. But let's start off with the BETFRED Bowl, and a small but select field for this one, Mick. But Dynast is certainly a horse who showed his true capabilities, if you like, in the Ryanair at Cheltenham.
Yeah, he's a good horse, this, and as well, winner at the meeting last year over fences when winning over course and distance. I just think it'll be very hard to see past this horse. David Pipe has continued on a roll since the Cheltenham Festival, and I think for me this horse will have too many guns for the others.
He had his doubts going into that race. That's why Tom Scudamore was celebrating like that, because people were saying, he had every chance at the festival last year.
I honestly feel, Enzo, that a lot of it is down to Tom, because for me, Tom Scudamore in the last 12 months has grown up as a jockey, and I think he's a lot more confident rider now, and this horse needed to be ridden like that. And he did, and you got the end result. And I think for me, he'll come into this race even more confident now, having done what he did at Cheltenham, and I think he's going to be very hard to beat.
The big danger, you'd imagine, would be a horse called Silvaniaco Conti for Paul Nicholls. Noel Feely retains the ride on him. He won the King George this season, Mick, on softer ground, beating Q Card, a memorable day on this occasion. And I thought he ran well enough in the Gold Cup. Again, I think 2 years running, if you stop the Gold Cup at the top of the hill, he's been the horse travelling best.
Yeah, he has. The worry is he's a beaten favourite last year at even money in the race. On the back of that Gold Cup fall where he fell 3 out. I'm not convinced.
No.
I think he's a very, very good horse. He was a very good winner of a King George. And, I just think Dynast will have too many guns for him.
Okay. Of course, Silvaniaco Conti won the Mile Maid Novice Chase 2 years ago, the same race that Dynast won at Aintree last year, but he was disappointing, as Mick was saying, behind First Lieutenant in the race 12 months ago. First Lieutenant, of course, lines up again for Mouse Morris. Barry Geraghty booked to ride First Lieutenant. Any chance he could win this race?
He loves the place, doesn't he? He looked really good when he won last year. And this horse, we're watching him here finishing behind Tidal Bay and Last Instalment. This is a good run. And I think he really took to it around the Mile Maid course last year. Mouse Morris was gutted the horse didn't get to run at Cheltenham, but the fact that he didn't run at Cheltenham, he comes to Aintree a fresh horse. And a lot of people will be keen not to back horses that have run at Cheltenham at Aintree, and if that's the case, he'll have plenty of supporters.
Okay, that's First Lieutenant. Another horse will be a biggish price is a horse called Argo Cat. Tom Taff, his trainer, enjoyed great success in the past at the likes of Kicking King. He's booked AP McCoy to ride this horse. He got it right at Goran Park. He was a big price. I think he was the outsider of 4 in this Red Mills Chase. He was obviously helped there by the falls of Bog Warrior and A-Up Charlie here, but he beat Turban in the end, Mick. This was a good win. Brian O'Connell on board this day. This was a Grade 2 race, and Tom Taff's booked AP for Thursday.
Yeah, he has. But he will need something to happen to the front 2 or 3 to win. And I think, he's a nice little horse, he's honest, but is a 3 parts of a length beating of Turban good enough to win a Melling Chase? I don't think it is. A BETFRED Bowl, I don't think it is. And, you would need something to happen to the front once for this fella to win.
Okay. Hublot des Obeaux was talked of as a possible for the Grand National. He, of course, ties in with many of the Grand National form horses, doesn't he? He is running behind T for 3 and Restless Harry at Ascot. He ran also in the Gold Cup last month. His jumping has been a little bit iffy, I guess, on occasions, but he's got some good form, Hublot des Obeaux, earlier in the season at Ascot.
Yeah, he has. He actually ran okay in the Gold Cup, I think, as well. Again, he's a horse that needs something to happen to the front once to get in the shake-up here.
Okay, that's Hublot des Obeaux. He was a winner of the Silver Cup earlier in the season at Ascot. There he is, staying on well in third behind Restless Harry and T for 3. That's the runner for Venetia Williams. Aidan Coleman rides. And Minora, the other horse to mention, ran poorly, I thought, though, behind Dynast, didn't he, at Cheltenham? Minora.
Yeah, he did. He was very disappointing. And, he's a horse who likes the place, but he'll need to recapture that form to have any chance here.
Dynast for you, confident choice?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the horse, and I just think he'll be buoyed by the fact that, you know, he was the victor at the Cheltenham Festival.
Okay, so it's Dynast for Mick to win the BETFRED Bowl on the Thursday at Aintree. Now, the Dunbar Aintree Hurdle is the race we'll put the focus on now. All eyes here on the new one, who was third in the champion hurdle. Of course, he was stopped in his tracks by the very sad fall of O'Connor in that particular race. But we'll have a look at a couple of horses here who are reverting to hurdles, Mick, after being running in chases. Arkle contenders Rock on Ruby and Grand Douay. Rock on Ruby, who made a dreadful blunder early on in the Arkle, almost got rid of Noel Feely. Here he is running behind Hurricane Fly at Punchestown last season over hurdles.
Yeah, but this is good form. We've got no Hurricane Fly in the race. He will be much happier back over hurdles. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Decent ground will be a massive plus for him. So if it keeps drying at Aintree, I think it'll enhance this horse's chances. The worry is that he's got a fair bit to find with the new one.
Of course, he was beaten by the new one, wasn't he, at Kempton earlier in the season? But I guess he is a former champion hurdler. You could throw that argument into the mix, couldn't you?
You can't just put a line through him. And, you know, we're looking now at Grand Douay. This is a horse who loves decent ground. He's got some very good form in the book, very capable on his day. He did take a heavy fall at Aintree a few years ago when challenging.
Has that just affected his confidence? Do you think he's still...
I don't know. He didn't look like it affected his confidence when he was over fences. I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I just think he's a smart horse, but I'm not convinced that this horse is an out-and-out stayer.
He's always had stacks of ability, isn't he? But
yeah,
just hasn't quite delivered on the big stage in the past.
No, he hasn't.
That's Grand Douay. He will be obviously a big price again. But again, let's talk about the new one, Mick. He finished off the race well at Cheltenham. He was arguably unlucky, wasn't he, when he got hampered by the sad, fatal fall of O'Connor. Here he is winning the International earlier in the season. Pictures of that win, beating Zarkandar. He's the horse they've got to beat, isn't he?
Yes, he is. He ran really well in this race last year as a novice, finishing second to Zarkandar. You know, that's good form, and it shows that he's able to handle the track. He won the bumper around there and beat My Tenter Yours. So, you know, that shows you the level of form you're talking about here. And the look on Sam Twiston-Davis's face coming back into that weighing room after the champion hurdle, he was gutted because he knew what might have been. And, you know, as a young jockey, you don't get that many opportunities to win races like the champion hurdle. I hope he gets another chance, Sam, but hopefully he'll get compensation when he wins this race.
Okay. And earlier in the week, we caught up with Sam Twiston-Davis to ask him about the new one's chances in the Aintree hurdle.
Great form. He came out the race really, really well. Be interesting to see who turns up. The entries are obviously very interesting. He seems a good heart, and we're hoping he goes there and we can put a bit of unlucky stories behind us, you know.
In a bizarre sort of way, did he have a harder race then because he's had to make up that ground and stay on, or what are you feeling?
Good question, because admittedly when that happened, winning went out of my head, and it was more about trying to get the horse balanced and get him enjoying get himself enjoying himself again, because he jumped the next two a bit scratchy, but the way he finished up the hill was unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't easy on him after the last. I really got stuck into him, and he beat a reigning world Hurricane Fly after getting hampered, and I think that speaks for itself, you know. Obviously Hurricane Fly probably didn't quite run up to form, but look, obviously he's had an hard race, but he's came out of it well.
He's going to be one of the shortest price favourites of the week, the new one. Mick, banker of the meeting for you?
I think, you know, I don't know about banker, but you're not going to get rich back in him, are you? But he's going to be very short, and he needs to really underperform, I think, for the horses to take advantage of it. Okay, so we're expecting the new one then to win the Aintree hurdle on the Thursday. Let's look ahead then to the BETFRED Melling Chase. 13 entered up for this one at the moment. Here they are. I'll just pick a few of those. Bailey Green, who ran at the weekend. We've got a horse called French Opera, a veteran now for Nicky Henderson. Let's talk about Module, though. Let's have a look at him winning at Leicester earlier in the season. I know he's always a horse that Tom George has held in high regard, Mick, and he'd have a bit of a chance in this Melling race on Friday. Yeah, he does. Beat Dodging Bullets, of course, in the Game Spirited at Newbury. He's a good horse. You wonder, does he need to have a bit of cut in the ground to be seen at his very best? But he brings good form to the table. You know, he's a solid type, and you know, I think he'll probably have a favourite's chance in this race, and deserves to be favourite.
Yeah, certainly a horse, as you say, showed his ability and his ability to battle when he won, beating Dodging Bullets in the Game Spirit Chase. He's definitely a big player. Module, Paddy Brennan for Tom George, would be about a 3-1 chance. He was third behind Cider Grugy, of course, in the Champion Chase last time. Very, very good form. A couple of others to have a look at. Days Hotel and Tona Dudery, two horses trained in Ireland. Mick, Days Hotel beating Tona Dudery here. This was the Grade 2 race at Nace back in February on softer ground. Disappointing run from Twin Light this day. He was out the back.
Yeah, he was. A lot to like about this horse's performance. Kept at it really well. Andrew Lynch on board, Tona Dudery fully expected to beat him, but unable to match him on the run to the line. Stiff uphill finish at Nace. But Henry de Bromhead has surprised a few people in the past. You know, Special Tiara was a winner last year at the AINTREE Festival. So, you know, he'll be hoping that he can have lightning striking twice.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of a chance, Days Hotel. As you say, I think he'll be fresh for the race, having missed Cheltenham as well. Another horse who missed Cheltenham is Rolling Aces, Mick. He showed good form in Northern Ireland earlier this season when he won up at Down Royal in the Grade 2 Powers Irish Whiskey Chase, beating Tona Dudery on this occasion. He's had 2 runs since. He was second at Sandown, a bit disappointing that day behind Vino Griego, and we haven't seen him since he was pulled up at Ascot.
No, and then you've got, you know, I think some decent horses in here, the likes of Oscar's well in there. You know, I just think that this horse needs to recapture this form and better, to be honest. I do think this is a wide open contest, though, and you know, you could have a little bit of a surprise here, because it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world if there was a 20-1 winner in this race.
What about Reggiani Express, just to mention? Ran well, I thought, behind Dynast at Cheltenham.
Ran an absolute corker, and you just wonder, is Cheltenham a place where this one likes to excel? That'll be a little bit of a concern for me. One that I think, you know, deserves a mention and should be a reasonable price is Boston Bob. He's a horse held in the highest regard by Willie Mullins, and to me, I would not be surprised if this horse were to win. I know it's short of his best trip, but if it's a competitive race, they'll go quick and the stayers will come through, and this horse stays really well.
Okay, that's Boston Bob. Could be a big price there for Mick. We'll have a look then at the CRABBIE'S Topham Chase now as well. Still 51 in at the moment here, including Champion Court, who you'd imagine will be towards the top of the weight. Some other good horses in there as well. Swing Bill is a possibility. He's first reserve for the Grand National, of course. Corto Stone in there as well. Have a look at the second page of runners there as well. Horses like Massini's Maguire in there, who was a former festival winner in his heyday as well. So some decent horses lining up in this Topham Chase. Double Ross has enjoyed a very good season. Perhaps not quite at his best this day at Ascot, Mick. He showed his best form at Cheltenham after this. He won 2 decent prizes, didn't he, at Cheltenham?
Yeah, and the Twiston Davises love Aintree, and they love having winners over the national fences. And you know, the likes of Baby Run is a standing dish. You know, he's won 2 Grand Nationals.
Hello Bud as well.
You know, Hello Bud is another one who loves it round there. And it's a bold move by them to run a horse like this in a race like the Topham, but he's a bold jumping, races prominently, and I think, you know, this horse got a great chance, and he'll give Sam a great spin. Yeah,
he's a lovely horse, Double Ross, smashing chestnut, jumps and stays very well. What about the David Pipe rider Paul Master, Mick? He comes here on the back of a couple of wins at Foss and here at Chepstow.
Yeah, this was a good win, competitive race this. You know, you can see Fargo back in 4th on this occasion. You just wonder with this horse that, you know, has he had his chance blown, really? You know, he's a horse who...
A hard race here, didn't he?
Yeah, but he's had a few goals, hasn't he, Pool Master, at bigger contests. He's quite high in the weights now, and I'm just not convinced.
Okay, yeah, he ran the Grand Sefton, didn't he, earlier in the season, was well beaten behind Rebel Rebellion. That's Pool Master. He'll be remembered. Some Irish form to have a look at now. This is a horse trained by Mr. Fahy. He runs 3rd here at Leopardstown. This is behind Past the Hat, isn't it, recently?
This is a good race, you know, and I'm very sweet on this horse. If this horse runs, he'll need to jump a little bit better than he did over the last.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, for me, this is one that you could take a chance on, because I think this is a competitive event. He's not badly handicapped, and I think he'll go well.
He won at Leopardstown earlier in the season as well. That's he'll be remembered. What about East Lake? He carries some McManus colours, trained by John Joe O'Neill. He ran at Cheltenham last time out behind Cervello in the Grand Annual. Here he is in form early in the season. This is winning from Newton Abbott back in March of last year.
Yeah, You know, again, he's a horse who Richie McLaren gave him a very good ride on this occasion. And I just think that this horse I think he's off his highest ever mark, isn't he? Now coming into this East Lake.
Yeah.
You would think there's going to be better handicapped horses around him. That would be the only concern for me.
Yeah, here he is beating Shangani in Falcon Island last Easter at Newton Abbot. That's at East Lake, but as you say, the handicapper may well have him at the moment. Big Fella Thanks is a horse who had some very good form in the past. He's a veteran these days. He's running Grand Nationals before. He unseated the rider behind Aurora's Encore last year. Obviously nowhere near as good as he was, Mick. This was a fair run, though, behind Tranquil Sea in the veterans race at Doncaster.
I thought this was a real spark back to life. You know, you got Time for Rupert, who ran really well again recently. And I just think that with this horse's record round Aintree, he's going to be a big price. And I think he's got to be backed. Because I think he'll travel into the race, he'll give you a good run for your money. And I think, you know, sometimes it's not the biggest shock in the world when a horse like that pops up at 33 to 1.
Okay, he was 7th in the Grand National about 3 years ago behind Bala Briggs. That's a Big Fella Thanks. One more to have a look at for this race, a horse called Renard, trained by Venetia Williams. He had a couple of wins earlier in the season when the Venetia Williams horses were firing on the heavy ground. He won on very testing conditions. I remember one day at Chepstow, Mick, after Christmas, Renard, not so sure. He didn't run so well on the better ground at Cheltenham last time.
I thought he did. I thought he ran better than I thought he would.
15 minutes behind Holywell, you thought wasn't
on the better ground. He was bang there with every chance turning for home. And I think this fella's got a squeak, you know.
It'd be a big price, about 25 to 1.
He will be a big price. And I think, you know, he's the sort of horse that could run a real big race. Just watch him staying on here. This is Knights in Milan, a horse who the connections are very much hoping is going to get into the National.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that this, you know, there's a few of them in there that you could back at reasonably big prices.
Okay, I'll give you 3, Mick. You can have a short list of 3 for the race. I know you quite like Renard a bit, and Big Fella Thanks.
Yeah, I think, you know, I'll go Renard, Big Fella Thanks, and he'll be remembered.
Okay, he'll be remembered. Renard and Big Fella Thanks. Mick will have 3 darts at the CRABBIE'S Topham Chase on the Friday. Certainly be a big field for that, and those 3 will be at big prices.